So there it is, the Badlands 2025 Finisher Medal. Yes, I finished my first ever ultra bike packing race and I'm so happy to have finished. But yeah, what a race, what an experience, what a roller coaster of highs and lows. It was a tough race, the longest and hardest bike race or event or ride I've ever done in my life. So this isn't a video of my experience of the event. I'll do that next week when I've had more time to get over this state I'm currently in and go through all the footage. But today I'll share my bike setup. The bike, the bags, the nutrition, what worked and what didn't, and what I might change if I did it again. A big if. But just a quick word of my race, because it was going quite well and loads of people watching the Dot on the Dot Watcher website were keeping me informed of my progress, like my mum and my friends back home. And it turned out I was going quite well and inside the top 20 for the first 20-30 hours, which was a surprise to me. I had no ambitions for a result of any sort. My aim was to finish first and foremost. So a top 20 sounded crazy, but yeah, it definitely gave me an extra boost of motivation. But, sadly things derailed on the second night. I reached Almere on Monday afternoon, had a McDonald's, prepared myself for the final stint, about 200 kilometers, which on paper looked fairly easy, but was anything but easy. I got up the monster climb out of Almere, a really bumpy, jarring road, and my neck muscle gave in. Something called Sherman's neck, when the neck muscle fatigue and you can't hold your head up. And I made the following 140 kilometers, 12 hours, simply unbearable. The pain and just impossible to ride a bike when your head is hanging down, you're drooping down and you're looking at the stem. So that was the lowest low I've ever experienced. And I was really close to DNFing. But in this race, there's no support. You have to make your own way back. And out here in, well, not here in Granada, but out there in rural Spain, there's no support. There's no taxis anywhere, there's no towns. You have to find your own way out. So I was very relieved to reach the finish line, get my medal, have an ice cream on the way back to the hotel, have a quick shower, well, a very slow shower as it turned out, and then slept for 12 hours straight. Absolutely zombie mode. Had nothing in me at all. And then stayed in bed for about 5 hours before I eventually emerged from my hotel. But enough about my failed race. Let's talk about the bike setup, because it's clear to me from the few days before the race kicked off that there's no right or wrong when it comes to bike and equipment and tyres you choose. There's everything on display from racing snakes on aero lightweight bikes with a small top tube bag, crazy to me, to setup like this with all the bags, with sleeping equipment and bivvies and all the food and dynamo lights and big tyres. There are a few mountain bikes, mostly gravel bikes, and tyres range from 38 up to mountain bike tyres. Mountain bike gears, road gears, 2x, suspension forks, suspension stems, tri-bars and no tri-bars. And that's the beauty of the ultra distance race. You choose a bike and equipment and setup that works for you and your aspirations for that race, whether it's going fast or taking it steady, comfort, speed, focus, whatever it is. So yeah, no right or wrong. And I love seeing all the different setups there. I wish I filmed some more, but I didn't really have the opportunity. And it's quite difficult in this blazing heat in Granada. So my bike, I had a few questions asking why I didn't use my Crux or my Mog or my Sacan, and they're all good questions. It mainly comes down to the fact that Aidan from 51 gave me the opportunity to ride this new Desert Sandstorm colorway on the Saturn gravel bike with the brand new Shimano GRX wireless group set. And given the group set is like unicorn poo, it's so rare, there are no samples in the UK, and this came from North America for the build, I thought it'd be a great opportunity to test out the new group set in an 800 kilometer race. So that's the reason for using a frame. As a frame and bike, I was very happy to ride for 800 kilometers. The geometry is fantastic, really that nice high-speed stability you want, loads of comfort, loads of speed, it's lightweight, all the mounting points if you need them for bottles and bags and cargo capacity. And then to group set, I guess. My first opportunity to ride the new GRX wireless, and to be honest, when you're actually riding a bike and on the hoods and changing gear, it feels the same as Di2 wired. There's no difference in shifting speed. As I can tell, it shifts as fast as Di2. So from that riding point of view, it feels the same. So yeah, and that's about it really. I got loads of comments about how big and bulky it is, and the general consensus seems to be, from my informal survey, that the looks aren't a hit with most people. It looks big, it looks heavy, and it's a bit cheap as well. So it's wireless, that's the main thing, and building a bike was easier, and there's now a removable battery. So runtime, they claim somewhere in the region of 800 to 1,000 kilometers. I had no spare batteries because they didn't send me a spare battery and you can't get hold of it at all. So thankfully the battery lasted for me the 62 hours it took me to complete the race and run out literally on the finish line. So now the battery is flat, I'm stuck in the lowest gear. But the battery is removable. But as you can see, it's not quite as easy as SRAM. So on the Plus, that's not fallen out easily, and it didn't fall out in my 800 kilometers of racing, but not that easy to get out if you're in a hurry or you're tired like I am right now. So yeah, definitely need a spare battery if you're doing an 800 kilometer race. Luckily I got through to the finish line okay, and it is USB-C chargeable. I had the charge station in here, but thankfully it lasted just fine. So yeah, the group set worked fine. I have a 1051 on the back, so a mountain bike cassette, and a 40 tooth on the front. A smaller gear would have been nice, but most of the time it's okay. But you can't go smaller than a 40 on GRX, I believe. So yeah, not quite as tunable as SRAM. So yeah, GRX wireless, just a first impression. It works. Doesn't work any better than Di2. And the only real benefit is the fact it's easier to build. But when it's on a bike, there's no real meaningful benefit. And unlike SRAM Explore, you still have the weak point, which is the mech hanger, which is a worry for me in a race where you can take a tumble and the bike's heavy, fall over and clatter that into a rock and your mech hanger bent. I have a spare one there just in case, so yeah. Right, the next big decision, big dilemma for me were the tyres, how wide to go and the tread pattern. But these 45mm semi-slick Maxxis Reaver tyres were spot on, absolutely fantastic. The course is demanding and it's rough and tough, but the tread pattern here is all you need. Didn't need anything chunkier at all or anything wider. So very happy with the tyre choice. They're fast rolling on the smooth bits, on a tarmac, and the shoulder lugs gave grip in the looser corners. And a 45 was good. I would probably do it on a 47, a 50 if I was doing it again. Because of my testing back home, going from a 45 to 50, there's no real downside in terms of speed, weight, also rolling speed. So yeah, but yeah, 45, very happy with. So no issues there. I did have one puncture, my own fault, on a final climb when my neck had just given up the ghost and I was a bit sleep deprived because I'd not slept in 2 days. I was bimbling up a track and there's some boulders on the left and I just rode off into the boulder field and slammed the front wheel into these rocks. So I got a double puncture. I cut the sidewall just there above the bead, mercifully, and right there on the top of the tread. But 2 dyno plugs in there and an electric pump on the valve, and I was back on the trail slowly in about 5 minutes, so no real alarm. So that's a real quick, easy fix, but that's a really unfortunate place to get a puncture, but that's my own fault. The previous 750 kilometers, been fine. MV wheels, yeah, not much to say about them. They're solid, bomb-proof, light, fast. The free hub sounds amazing when you're freewheeling. Yeah, fantastic wheels. I was very keen to run tri-bars. I'd never used them before, but in my research and speaking to people like Aidan at 51, it seemed like a no-brainer to run them for comfort and aero benefits. Not aero of going faster, but reducing your effort at any given speed to save power and energy expenditure to help you last longer in the race. The time trial bars are a combination of a profile base pad bit here with some cheaper, shorter extensions here and some bar tape on the ends there. The stem's not slammed, so they're not that low. I could have gone for spacers there, but I was quite happy with the position in my testing, and I felt it's so comfy, and I use them all the time, probably too much. Any road section, any smooth gravel, I use them. For me, my focus on the race was not being fast, but being efficient. So going purposely slow on the climb, not going to red too much, and I go fast where it's easy to go fast. On flats, rolling roads, where you can go up an extra 10k an hour for very minimal effort. So that's my approach, and it mostly sort of worked. So yeah, time trial bars, I would say it's probably 50-50 how many people here had tri bars. For me, even if you're not going for a fast time, I think tri bars are just a great way to give you a different position to rest your body in. So yeah, no brainer for me. So I went for the USE Vibe suspension stem up front with matching suspension seat posts, which were fantastic. An MV gravel handlebar, wider than the trend for narrow, but I think wider is better when you're doing a long distance event. I wouldn't want to be like that for 62 hours, that's for sure, and nice flare in the drops. And then exposure lights mounted to a K-Edge computer mount and my Wahoo Roam on the front there. And then the other decision is luggage. How much to carry, what to carry. That was a big dilemma in the weeks leading up to the race, and a bit of a panic for me on Friday. And I had a tip from somebody who said to focus on your own race and your own setup, and don't let what other people are doing distract you. But that did distract me, and I got freaked out by other people having lighter setups, not having a tail fin, for example, and thinking I'm carrying too much stuff. So I packed my bike, repacked it several times on Friday. But in the end, I'm happy with my setup, and I wouldn't go any lighter. The bike, I haven't weighed the bike, probably about 15 kilos. It's not heavy, but I don't think being a few kilos lighter would have made any difference in the grand scheme of things. And having plenty of stuff is better than not having stuff and having a lighter bike. So yeah, it's that trade-off. That's the beauty of ultra racing, ultra long distance riding. It's that balance of how much stuff you carry versus keeping the bike light and riding easier. So, tail fin on the back with a new Aero cargo pack, which I really liked. The roll top is easy and quick to get into. Got the cargo expanded pockets on the side to put gels and clothing into for quick access. And then one change I made from my video last week are the bags here. I was going to use the Apogura Aero packs on the top tube and inside the frame here, but they are quite small, and I decided at the last minute to go for more capacity and opted for a tail fin pairing with top tube and frame bag. Give me more space for all the stuff I need, because stuff takes a lot of space. The GPS tracker, your spare contact lenses, glasses for me, because I'm blind as a bat, your battery bank, your food, phone, cable, charging adapters, spare lights, and you know, it all adds up and it all takes space. So roughly in order of importance, in my top tube bag I have my battery bank to charge my phone and my Wahoo. I have my dyno plugs in there so I can do a quick repair and get going. I have my headphone cables in there and some charge cables and some gels. And then in the top tube bag here on the left side, the non-drive side, I mostly had chain lube, some eye liquid refreshing stuff, my credit card, my hotel room card, some more cables and some money, some euros for the remote bars, far from anywhere. What else is in there? Let me have a look. Yeah, and some chamois butter, not sponsored, but use that. And then in this side, mostly food, bars and gels. And then in my tail fin, I had some spare bib shorts just in case. I had a puffy gilet and a lightweight rain shell jacket for the nighttime stints because I was planning to ride through the night and it would drop down to about 10 degrees. I had all my tools, so a big bag of tools, so spare tubes, more repair plug kits, multi-tool, chain links, sidewall repair kits, other bits and bobs, a survival blanket just in case because you never know. Some more food, more gels and bars, and a buff and a hat and some other bits and bobs. I had more stuff planned to go in there, like a puffer coat, which I sort of wish I'd taken with me because it got quite cold in the night time. And I didn't take any sleeping equipment. I had no plans to sleep out on the trail. If I was at a point where I had to sleep, I'd hopefully be at some point where I could check into a hotel or B&B or whatever passes for that in the middle of Spain. So no plans to sleep on the side of the trail, but as I reveal my video next week, I did sleep on a very rocky, uncomfortable gravel track when I pretty much fell off the bike. So yeah, so tailfin fantastic, really impressed with that system. It's stable, it's lightweight, doesn't move around. I was surprised there weren't more tailfins. There were definitely more sort of seat packs, but I saw one seat pack at one point was swinging around like that behind the rider, and that's the worst thing about seat packs, is they swing around a lot. That thing, you don't notice it when you're riding, so yeah, it's very stable. I guess with hindsight, I could have got away without the tailfin, but I don't really know how I would have got all my stuff from there into those bags. So I think having it is better than not having it. And then a hydration pack, because my big concern for the race was the heat. So I'm filming right now in a park in Granada and it's roasting hot. It's about 40 degrees. I'm sweating underneath the t-shirt. It's so hot. And out in the desert, I heard somebody say it hit 46. Yeah, there were some points and course where you felt like you were baking alive, just burning in the desert, just pinned to the road. So hot. So on the bike, 3 bottles, 850 milliliter bottles for hydration, and the bottom one didn't fall out at all. And then a hydration pack. So this one is from Canyon. I picked this up at the Tracker launch where they launched this pack and I rode it for the first time. I've only tried a few hydration packs because personally I gave up on hydration packs mountain biking years and years ago, but now they're back in fashion for gravel bikes. So yeah, I use this one. There are loads on the market. This one worked well for me. It has a 2-litre bladder inside from Hydro Pack, so very easy to access and get to. So 2-litre bladder there, stays in place very well. There's a compartment on the back, which I never used, and oh yeah, I forgot about those gels in there. And then what I like about this one, you got 2 straps, which it's okay, they're comfortable. You got a nice zip pocket there for your phone or credit card, and a big pocket here for your gels and food, which I'll talk about in a moment. So that bag, even fully loaded, it felt fine. And when you're riding through the desert in that sort of heat, you're so hot and you're so sweaty that having that in your back, it doesn't make much difference. So that and the 3 bottles, yeah, it kept me going well really. And to be honest, I probably think I could have done with just 2 bottles on the bike. I think 3 bottles were probably a bit overkill because I did feel at the end of day one, I felt like I was drinking too much. I was so paranoid about dehydrating, I drink to excess. So yeah. And for nutrition, as I'm not sponsored by any nutrition brand, I have freedom to choose the products I like and which Andy Turner, my not coach but coach on the video, recommends. So for water, had these for my electrolytes and they worked amazingly well. I used one in every other bottle and they worked a treat. No issues with cramp, anything. So yeah, the big chunky tablets taste fine, really good. And then for food, 3 products. Firstly, these rice bars, which I really rate. They just taste great and just keep me going for miles and miles. This one being flattened in my bar, but they're quite chunky, but yeah, quite easy to digest. Then some Go gels, which they're quite watery, so they're quite easy to get down, and they definitely kept me going and didn't give me any side effects. And then my secret weapon in this bag here, oh yes, a brand new product from a company I've not heard of until recently called FTP Endurance Fuel. And they're these, like a squidgy fruit pastel. They come in a big bag, and the idea is you dispense as many as you want or need into a smaller bag like these, like a freezer bag. So I had 2 of these, half full, and I put one in my frame pack and one in my hydration pack just there. And I basically just put my hand in, took one out, took 2 out as I needed, and they kept them going really well. These are a tart cherry. I don't like cherry, but the flavour is very soft, it's very light. They're not like a strong cherry flavour, and the flavouring is very light. So very easy to digest and not too sickly or too sweet. And yeah, I'm very impressed with those. I really like them. I ate dozens and dozens of those through the event. And that approach worked really well for me. I stopped at bars and supermarkets for some Pringles, some savoury snacks and ice cream and lots of Coca-Cola and Fanta. And I had 1 baguette, 2 baguettes I think, which I ate half of and then kept the other half for later. So yeah, 2 baguettes and some ice creams, cans of Cokes, some Pringles and lots of these, and it worked really well for me. And having a good supply of these, which kept my engine going really nicely, I felt really good the whole ride. I normally have a delicate tummy when it comes to stuffing food down, but I wasn't stuffing food down that much. I was keeping it just nicely topped up. And yeah, I've got to say, this worked extremely well for me, and I was very, very happy. It's the best I felt in terms of that nutritional side of riding a bike for a long time ever, really. So yeah, absolutely aced my nutrition, all thanks to Andy Turner. So big thanks, Andy. I really appreciate it. So that worked really well for me, but like I say, everyone's different. You might prefer to stop and have a proper lunch, or just go on gels and bars, or homemade food, bananas, and stuff like that. So my bike and setup were mostly pretty much dialed, really. I was really impressed, very pleased. For my first ultra, I mean, I did a lot of research. I watched a lot of videos, spoke to a lot of people, Aidan, Chris, Andy, and people at the event. So I soaked up all this information and all these data points and tried to come up with a solution that I thought would work for me, and it did work. But there are a few things that let me down. Firstly, my battery bank failed and meant my Wahoo and then my phone went flat. So that was a bit of an issue. So that's something to address by getting a better brand battery bank or a bigger capacity. I charged my phone once and that seemed to drain it completely. And I'm pretty sure it's a 20,000 milliamp hour battery, so it should have been fine. The Wahoo did 23 hours before it ran out, so yeah, pretty amazing. I had 2 front lights because I used the entire battery on my Max D on the first night, and this one lasted the second night just fine. But these new ones now have, these aren't the new ones now have USB-C charging, so that's easy for charging. Having USB-C charging ports for everything on your bike is definitely easier. 1 cable or 2 cables to charge all your devices makes sense. And the Di2, the wireless Di2 ran flat towards the end. So a spare battery there would have been nice. And if I were running SRAM, I would have spare batteries. And in time, if you own wireless GRX, you have a spare battery. So I can't really blame Shimano there. So yeah, the big one for me though is I ran a suspension stem and also a seat post, and I really like suspension, as you know. Forks, stems, more comfort. It's not a bad thing at all. It feels odd at first, but it feels fantastic when you're bumping over, well not bumping over, rough gravel. But on day 1, the stem, amazing. Day 2, yeah, it stopped working. I've broken it. I have no idea what happened, whether it melted in the heat, the elastomers couldn't take the heat from riding out here in Spain, or whether I've just loaded up with too much weight with the tri-bars and computers and lights, and it just couldn't cope with that demanding weight and the rough course. So day 2, yeah, that probably didn't help my neck. I don't know if this happened before my neck gave in and that caused my neck, or that happened after. It's all a bit of a blur. That second night is a bit of a, yeah, it's a bit of a hazy period right now. So yeah, I will feed back to USE. They probably say it's my fault for putting tri-bars on, and yeah, if it is, I'll take full responsibility, but I wouldn't have expected it to go that easy. So that's a real shame. And that's it really. No, yeah. My chain kept going dry, so I had to keep lubing my chain or use water. Would a wax chain last the whole race? Don't know. So that's kind of annoying. Maybe some sort of automatic chain lubing system would be cool. But yeah, I was really blown away with how well the bike worked, apart from a few niggles, on its first outing, and nothing came loose and nothing broke really, apart from that stem, which is very impressive on its fourth ride and an 800-kilometer ride to boot. yeah, well. So yeah, that's my biking setup for my first attempt at an ultra bikepacking race, the Badlands 2025. Like I say, not the ultimate setup, but my setup. What works for you might not work for me, and vice versa. But let me know what you think of my setup, what you do differently, what you change, what do you like, what do you hate. Love to hear your thoughts as always. And this video, as a reminder, not sponsored by any brands involved in today's video at all. But I put links to 51, MV, Maxis and all the other brands down below if you want to check out their websites for more info on the products I've used. Because an event like this is a really good test for products like this, designed for events and riding like this, and really is the ultimate test for bike and body. So that's it. I need to go and pack the bike into a bag and fly home. And I'll share my experience of Badlands 2025 in a few days' time. But yeah, that's all for today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again very soon.